decided I was going to go through the whole entire book from front to back so everybody can know exactly what it is. It is, again, Elementary Home Economics, Cookery, Sewing, and Care of the House. Then Elementary Home Economics, First Lessons in Sewing and Textiles, Food and Cookery, and the Care of the House by Mary Lockwood Matthews, Bachelor of Science, Professor of the Home Economics, and Head of the Department of Home Economics in Purdue University. Publisher is Boston, Little, Brown and Company in 1923. It's a copyright 1921 by Little, Brown Company, all rights reserved. Printed in the U.S. Okay, so it says Preface. This volume is intended for use in classes beginning the study of foods and cookery and also sewing and textiles. It has been arranged for the use in the elementary schools and presupposes little training in general science. Part 1 deals with the selection of clothing and garment making. Garments are made, the commercial patterns being used. The lessons in textiles are correlated with the lesson in garment making by studying in the class the materials that are being used in the laboratory. The hygiene of the clothing, attractive and suitable clothing, care and repair, and the clothing budget are discussed when the dress is in the laboratory problem. Part 2 deals with food, their selection and preparations, and the planning of the meal from the nutritive, aesthetic, and economic standpoints. The meal plan is used in order to make a meal basis of the work. Through the home problems, it is hoped that the home and school work may be correlated. While there are a number of textbooks on the home economics for elementary schools, there seems to be a need for one dealing with more than one phase of the subject, as it is now taught in these schools. This book is intended for the use in schools where one book is desired to cover the entire course, and is strictly an elementary treatment of the subject. The author appreciates the help given in illustrating the book by the United States Department of Agriculture, the United States Bureau of Standards, the Detroit Stove Works, Cheney Brothers, the Linen Thread Company, Landers, Ferry and Clark, and Chambers Manufacturing Company. The author also gratefully acknowledges the criticisms and suggestions of the educators who kindly read the manuscript. MLM, October 13th, 1920. Okay, so that's the preface. Now, this is to the student. Have you thought about what you will do when you finish school? Perhaps you decided to be a teacher, a librarian, a stenographer, a doctor, and a nurse. Perhaps you're making plans to take a course in high school or college that will fit you for one of these callings. You would not consider yourself capable of entering in any of them without training. Very probably, you will be at some point time the manager of the home. Have you thought about the importance of being trained for homemaking? It is only with the past 25 years that it has been considered proper for the public schools to train girls for the work which of them will do for the longest period in their lives, the work of homemaking. Miss Ellen H. Richards was the first to say that schools ought to teach right living. And largely through her efforts and inspiration, plans have been worked out whereby girls, while in school, can be taught many things about right living. Right living begins with the home. Who makes the home? The man may furnish the money to build and maintain the house, but it is the woman who plans and manages the home. It is her business to see that the family lives in a sanctuary and an attractive house, that every member of the family has clean, properly selected, and well cooked food, that everyone is suitably clothed, that the family income is wisely spent, and that all in the home are helped to lead a happy and useful life. No girl should consider the making and managing of the home an easy piece of work, for in fact, nothing is harder to do and to do well. When the girl takes work in school and college that covers all phases of homemaking, we say that she is taking a course in home economics. So next is suggestions. I'm going to put little tabs so you can click through easier. So suggestions. When planning a course in home economics for any school, it is essential that the teacher should know from what kinds of homes the students come. What is the average income of the family of these girls? What are the nationalities represented? What is the social life of the neighborhood? It is impractical to follow any textbook page by page without first knowing whether the lesson plans suit the students to whom they are presented. When the teacher knows the neighborhood, she can wisely select and arrange the parts of the book to be assigned. In many cases, the recipes outlined in this book should be changed. And in no cases should they be used as presented when the teacher has recipes which she has tested and knows to be good, and which may be used to illustrate the principle that is under discussion. The foods and cookery lessons are outlined on the meal basis, making the meal the project, while the lessons on various foods are the problems to be studied before the project is completed. It is desirable that the laboratory equipment should include dining room equipment, but when that is not available, serving the meal on a supply table or at the individual's desk may be a plan used. In any case, the girls should be urged to try the work at the home, making reports on the work done. The lesson in sewing and textiles are planned with the garment as a project, with many problems to be studied, which lead to its completion. It is advisable always to have a plain practical garment as the project rather than an elaborate one involving a great deal of handwork. Any school teaching sewing in the 7th and 8th grades should have its laboratories equipment with sewing machines. Lessons on the house and its care are correlated with the other work whenever possible. The book is divided into sections instead of lessons, thus giving the teacher the opportunity to use as much or as little as desired at any one time, since the amount of time allowed for home economics varies greatly in different schools. The home problem questions may furnish material for lessons of plenty of time is allotted to this course, or may be used only as work to be done outside of the class hours. Illustrations and exhibit materials that can be secured with the help to make the work more interesting. The following firms furnish schools exhibits that will be found useful. Easy Bridges, 61 Warren Street, New York City. Meat charts. Hershey Chocolate Company, Hershey, Pennsylvania. Chocolate products. This is just a list of credits. I can't think of the word. I'm gonna put them in the description. It's a long list. I'm just gonna type them out in the description. But that's the suggestions. That's the preface to the student, to the teacher, and now we're at the table of contents. That's what we're gonna cover next. We're gonna cover, the next video is gonna be what's in the book, so it's gonna be much shorter. List of illustrations. So all that, next video is going to be much shorter, but you can just skip right over it. I'll label them appropriately. And then the next video is part 1, sewing. So 2 videos from now.